Hey everybody, welcome to Highly Unlikely with Josh and Jenaye. We're so glad that you're here, and thank you to those of you that, you've been with us from the beginning, or you're consistently listening to every podcast or sharing with people that the podcast might make a difference to them. Yeah. We just appreciate you. And it's never been about us or about us trying to have more time to talk. It's been about being with you and sharing thoughts and experiences and kind of having a coffee together. So, So thanks for subscribing, being a part of what God has done through Highly Unlikely. And thanks to the team, the Peanut Gallery, that always makes it happen. So we always say we have special guests, but you guys are special to us.
Good.
Two just dear people to our heart,
Yeah. So Pastor
we love you guys too.
Kyle and Hailey Juris are here. And you've both been on a couple times.
We have
returning
guests,
yes.
but for the first time together, which I think is really fun.
That is really cool.
We were talking about how cool that is.
That is so
We love talking
fun.
about this stuff.
Good. Yeah. Good.
And big news in your guys' life
Yes.
is, as we say, Hailey is showing up and showing out because she's pregnant.
So fun.
Yep.
Baby coming.
I got my Dad Gang hat on.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Dad Gang.
That's amazing.
We're excited.
Yeah, you guys are going to be probably the most fun parents out of all of us, honestly.
We're gonna have lots of fun experimenting.
You are. Yeah, you are. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Kyle and I were sitting on golf carts hauling women around at Unique when I can't remember if I asked him, so are you guys gonna are you gonna start having a family? And then he kind of had that deer in the headlights look.
That's hilarious.
His giveaway look.
I was
didn't know that.
Because
did you know?
to my lead pastor, but I was
I wasn't trying to set him up.
We did, but I was trying to find a time with her to tell you guys or something like that. It was just not happening. And then you casually brought up
That's hilarious.
something, and I was just like,
and in my head I was like, oh, they're pregnant. And I wasn't trying to find out that they're pregnant, but now I know.
That's funny. I feel like that's happened to you a couple times. You just are inquiring, asking about life. And
it's natural, when you're just sitting there on a golf cart waiting to pick people up, you're like, what should we talk about? Let's talk about our family. Let's talk about our dreams.
So true.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to do a question from the bowl or just dive right in?
No, let's do a quick one.
Okay.
This is lightning round. Question from
Question
from the block.
yeah. I was concerned about that. It's not a bowl.
It's not a bowl anymore, but we said it too many times. It's ingrained in your brain.
I don't know.
Used to be a bowl.
Yeah.
Are you an early bird or a night owl? And what do you enjoy doing during that golden time?
I'm more of an early bird, and I like devotions, reading, pairing it with coffee.
Yes.
Always good incentive to get up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a night owl. I am so much a night owl. Stay up late. I get stuff done.
I was going to say, are you a productive night owl? I feel like you would
stuff. I do house projects. I think. I write.
You're put the wife to bed. Get some stuff
Is that
done.
when you and QB collaborate on your albums?
That is.
No
that
way.
is.
It is.
I was up till 2:30, 3 a.m. about 2 weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago. I was like, I can't stop.
Because you just were
writing
in the
music.
flow.
I was just writing music
In
and
bed.
I got stuck. I got stuck and I was like, I should go to bed. And I just couldn't.
If you haven't, you should learn, which I don't know all the details of it, but wasn't it a book on chronotypes?
Oh, yeah.
Where it was you're either a bear, dolphin, wolf, and it like how an animal would, whatever. There are people, and there are some workplaces that have catered to their employees based on their chronotype. Because your peak hours are going to be 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. And that is when you should create, not trying to be, but then they don't go into work till 10 a.m. or something like that.
Interesting.
I think I was a bear. I don't know what I was. But I feel like that'd be fascinating to know what animal you are on that. So
how about you guys, morning or evening?
I'm probably technically more of an evening person, but sometimes I'm is it a life situation that's when the kids are in bed and things are settled down and that's when you feel like you get your own time?
Season of life matters for sure.
Yeah, but I've never really been a morning person.
No. And
I don't even like to talk. I go in the bathroom and Jenaye's wanting to talk to me and I was like, why?
I'm learning to know.
Why is she speaking? It's quiet time right now.
And I
This morning she was up for like an hour and a half before me. So
yeah,
she was
I
ready
realized
to chat.
I am a morning person and I love the morning. In the thick of having little babies, I was not, because I was not. People who can maintain that throughout the young years, you're amazing. So I'm like getting back to 5 a.m.
Totally.
Like even when we were dating, it was like 5 a.m. workout was like my sacred time. But currently the house that we're renting, there is an infrared sauna in the master closet. I was just texting our friend whose house it is today, and I was like, this has spoiled me.
Yeah.
So that was my 5 a.m. this morning, and it was amazing, and reading and or working out. But I just loved the quiet. No one interrupted me that whole time.
That's good.
Yes. So, but I can also be a night owl when I need to. I think it's what the season demands.
It's true.
Ebb and flow.
Yeah.
So
I think you want to be a morning person.
I want to be, ideally.
Everybody
Sleeping by 9:30.
probably wants to be,
at 5.
but they're like, I could give up. I can't be.
For me, legitimately, my most creative hours are like 8 to 10 p.m.
I was going to say that. That's the other thing we've talked about with chronotype, because I'm like, you should actually slot your week to go in from 8 to 10 p.m. one night a week.
I get more done
He does
than
in those 2 hours.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking today about how to have an affair. How to not have an affair. Sorry, I had to get them. Whet the appetite.
Yep.
We're going to talk about an anti-affair plan, affair-proofing your marriage. There's been a lot of different topics
And
about
a lot
this.
of other things that touch into that, or like a lot of other things that kind of are an offshoot of it, not just about an affair.
Yeah,
or
it's
what
really
it is,
about
or-
your heart. So whether you're single, married,
Yeah,
whatever your
any
season of
season.
life, it's really about your heart. So tell us all why this conversation matters and why we're having.
Yeah. Well, why? I think that could be a common question people ask is like, well, why does this matter? Why would this even pertain to me, whether I'm married or not?
Or people that are married saying, I would never have an affair.
Yeah. And I think all of us sitting here would say that and think that.
Yep.
I think most people we've walked through, and maybe you guys as well, that if you've walked through anyone through the hardship of an affair, they would say that. I never thought I would be in this position. I never thought I would be here. But why it matters is because it's not just that like we're these super weak people that would give in to any temptation. No, we're all human. And why this is important is because we want to protect the most precious covenant that God gave us here on earth with another human, which is marriage. And proactive plans are always better than reactive plans. And that's just kind of in general what we're talking about today. But I don't know if you guys wanted to say your little disclaimer before we get into it.
Yeah. I think when me and Hailey were like engaged or even dating, actually, we were having a lot of these.
Dating.
We were talking about creating a plan like this. Dating with the intention of going into marriage is actually a really great way to date someone, to talk about hard things like this. But I had the mindset of like, I would never have like any type of an affair. But I think it's important to like define what an affair is. Because there's so many different types even
So
too.
true.
I was even you guys know how much I'm into like money and John Deloney.
Yes, you love being rich.
I love being rich.
Just that
So
one statement
specifically-
alone.
What do you mean
It's just
I'm
funny.
into money?
Specific money health, right?
Yes.
Okay. John Deloney,
Yes.
he talks about financial infidelity a lot,
So
right?
interesting.
There's financial
Yeah.
infidelity, but that you can have an emotional affair.
Yeah.
When we think of an affair,
Well, I was listening to Susie Larson's podcast, and she interviewed a couple about the church being your mistress, like when you're in
yeah.
ministry.
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
talked about that literally just recently. And anyways, I think it's important to broaden, if you're listening right now, to broaden your understanding of what it means for anything to come between you and your spouse. And that way you'll probably benefit a lot more from this conversation. So it's more than one thing.
Yep. I love
And
that.
just got to be aware of what's going on. Yeah. Anything to add to that?
Yeah. I mean, and I know that Pastor Josh and Jenaye would agree with this, but it's really preventative care. And that just creates so much safety and freedom. You can hear the idea of having, a anti-affair plan or a plan for your marriage as restrictive, but it's a paradox. It's actually the opposite. It creates so much relational freedom and trust,
Yeah.
and anxiety is so much lower.
Like peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Peace.
Yeah. And because we were also talking about, well, I think of right? All four of us here, we have pretty high callings in the Christian world. So maybe someone's listening now too, and they're like, of course they need to have an anti-affair plan. Like they're pastors, they're leading the church. Of course they need to have those types of things in their marriage. When in reality, I think it's good for absolutely everyone.
Yeah.
To have these types of things. And all a plan does is, like you were saying, Hailey, it just removes anxiety. I have never once lost any sleep or given too much thought to the idea that Hailey is doing something, has some plans with some guy. I've never once had that thought cross my mind because of the boundaries that we put in place. So it's just so peaceful. You wouldn't want to have deeper rest.
Yeah.
Because they know they're just so connected with their spouse.
Right.
So we want to talk about how to kind of build that in to your life and into your marriage.
Yeah, and even just some tips too, because some of you might be like, well, I am not even at a point where I could bridge this conversation with my spouse. Does that stress you out?
It does.
I always set my cups places that really stress Josh out because they'll probably spill, and they do.
And then,
So,
like in the middle of the two chairs in the front of the car, and then you hit the gas and it spills everywhere.
oh man. Okay, so really though, which will, I'm sure, just tie scripture in throughout all this, but we're talking about what it talks about in Proverbs, which is to guard our heart. And I think too, in abiding by boundaries too, you're helping guard your spouse's heart, and you're just out of love for them. And it's just like a way to love your spouse as well. But this podcast is coming out after, well, right now this is the plan. I hope this stays the plan, but it may have changed. But so we'll see if that's what we do. But Josh and I are slotted to speak the Sunday before this podcast comes out. And what we think right now we're going to be hitting on ties into this and how do you protect your relationships and cherish your relationships, but primarily your marriage. And so I'm going to, I think this is your thought, Josh. Sorry. The lies that we can believe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's my thought or not, but we can go, I was thinking externally, we look at somebody's life and go, oh, they had an affair, or they had an emotional affair, or they are distracted from their marriage. Internally, nobody thinks, oh, I'm having, internally, somebody goes, oh, I enjoy this person, or I enjoy this job, or I find myself happy when I'm around them.
Or I'm pretty fulfilled right now,
Or I'm fulfilled right now. And it's like, so I think there is that disconnect. That's why people go, oh, I would never have an affair. And yet, if you're really attuned to your heart, you know that there's going to be different moments where your heart goes, what if we wander?
Yeah.
Or what if we get distracted? Or what if we let somebody else fill our cup today and make us feel good? So I think that's some of the disconnect in people's hearts and in their minds too. But there's a lot of lies that we believe that sometimes cause us to not guard our heart. And one of them is that we don't have to steward our heart. We can let the heart want what it wants. Another is that I deserve to be happy. And if this person isn't making me happy, I'm going to go find happy.
I think it's Jackie Hill Perry that says, what if God gave us marriage not for our happiness, but for our holiness? And I think that's just such a beautiful perspective, too, of I don't know, a lot of my selfishness has had to die.
Totally.
Marriage,
it's a beautiful death.
Yes, right?
Like
it's like, it's not really been about my happiness.
I keep thinking of this interview I was like, maybe I was scrolling Instagram, and this celebrity singer had gotten divorced, and she said, we just didn't have the fire anymore, so I went to find the fire again. Like, oh,
sad.
I think that's another reason why we wanted this conversation is everything you're hearing and seeing in culture is going to point you not to any of this. This is probably one of the most countercultural conversations we could have right now.
Yeah, no fire burns unless you steward it. And that's part of what
Or even the lie like, oh, stay in your marriage, but add another person into it. And that there's, I don't even know what they're called, thruples or whatever. It's culturally accepted and normal and encouraged. Or something like swinging, where it's like you're not, I don't even know if I said that right. You're not leaving your spouse, but you're adding these things because there's no spark, or because there's, you're not happy in this. You need
whether
additives.
that's another person or pornography or something emotional, like all of it is out of bounds.
Yeah.
So there's these mindsets that we can have. Somebody outside my marriage can make me happier. I'm emotionally connected to them in a way I'm not connected to my spouse. We're getting older. And I mean, we are anyways. And
yeah,
I am.
It's so funny.
Okay,
He keeps saying, yeah, because we're 40. I'm like, oh, well, let's not say we yet. You've crossed over. No, it's just funny.
Technically, I'm a day older than yesterday. So I'm in the category too. I'm getting older.
We're all getting older.
But you do I mean, this is a physical attraction is a huge part of relational dynamics and even marriage, and your bodies change over time. And women who have had babies, bodies change over time. And I remember a pastor saying, I never compare my wife's body that gave me my children to the body of somebody who never gave me that, or hasn't got, like, she is my standard of beauty. And it's not just about what she looks like, it's about what we've built together, you know? And so just trying to give some of these, or I deserve a reset. You hear this a lot, like, I decided I was going to go find myself. And so I left my spouse and I quit my job and I, traveled to across the world, and now I know who I am, and those things are temporarily pleasing, but there's not long-term fruitfulness in them. So just dispelling some of the lies that come into our hearts. I'm talking too much, but let me just take kind of every affair goes along the same pattern. And I was just talking to a group of guys about this past week, about how you might say, I would never have an affair, but the first couple steps to having an affair will happen in every one of us. The first step is that something...
I remember when I first heard that and I thought, no way.
Yeah.
But I just had not heard someone teach on this until we heard these 12 steps. And I think, Hailey, especially with you as a counselor, if you want to edit any of these points or say, well, I've also seen this too, or I have, this knowledge, please insert into that. But yeah, I mean, the premise of this kind of is to the start of these couple steps, the steps to an affair is it's pretty delusional to think I'm going to get married and I'll never feel my heart lean towards another person, or I'll never find anyone else attractive ever. That's pretty, I think that would be a very Christianese answer to, like, seem holy or something like that. Like, it's pretty delusional. So let's all just acknowledge that and then, dive into this. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, to acknowledge what you said, if we said, hey, every affair starts pretty similarly, and we'd be like, no way, that never happens in me. But if I said to you, nobody wakes up one morning and decides I'm going to have an affair today, you would say, yeah, that's true. Right. So it is that like...
Slow fade, yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys want to add anything before I jump in?
I mean, the only thing that's coming to mind too that kind of pairs with all of this, there's a counseling theory I like called imago, and it just has, or it's this idea that we are unconsciously drawn to people who we could finish our unfinished business with. And if we are all sinners and have all fallen short and all have wounds, and we are meant to have marriage be a sharpening thing, then it can be so redemptive when we're aware. I'm in this marriage with Kyle, and it's going to be hard, and I might not always be happy. And this is supposed to be sharpening and redemptive and reclaiming, right? Dismantling shame. And if I'm not aware of that, then, when the pains of my heart are drawn to someone else, I mean, really narrating, that's actually what's happening. It's my own hurt. It's my own unmet needs. And I have decided now to not resolve this with my husband. And of course, a little disclaimer too, there are situations where there's abuse. That's different.
Right.
But yeah, just bringing that piece in too. Like, we all are susceptible because we all are sinners, because we all do have these wounds and these pain points that want to be healed. But can I direct them in a healthy way, not a pressure-filled way, towards my spouse and God?
Else.
Yeah.
And, work through that as my life journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
Great.
Let's go through it. Let's dive in.
Well, I just want to give you the first little bit, which is the point that every one of us will get to, in whether, when I talk about this, it's like whether it's with your spouse or even your walk with the Lord, like something happens and you get a little disappointed in Jesus because he didn't do something when you wanted, how you wanted, how fast you wanted.
Or just life throws something at you, you just didn't expect.
Yeah, and people get thrown off and they can get taken out. But the first step is that something unplanned happens to you that creates tension, right? So you have, I mean, pregnancy is one of those things that happens in a marriage where people go, oh, this is different. And our life is adjusted, and if you haven't thought about it or talked about it or planned for it, it can be very disruptive to people, know, and you actually see a lot of affairs happen in the third trimester of pregnancy or right after a baby is born.
Yeah.
Or you have you have an argument or there's a disruption in your life or some sort of disconnect occurs.
Could be a loss. Someone could lose their job. I mean, just
you're not
tension.
seeing something eye to eye.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know we've even walked or heard of situations where it's like they went through tremendous loss, or like a loss of, like a child or a loved one or something. And then it's even like not even knowing how to cope. And there's that tension. And then what do you do with that? Yeah. So step one, something difficult happens that causes tension within you.
So I ultimately think about it like Jenaye holds my heart, right? And it's extended to her, but then that thing happens and I kind of go, I kind of pull my heart back toward myself and go, oh, like we're not connected. Can I trust her with my heart? And then the next step is that you unconsciously or subconsciously start looking around and going, well, who does fill my heart right now? Who do I want to spend time with? Who,
Or you find yourself aware of someone.
Yeah, who laughs at your jokes. I think that's when you hear.
Which that could be something that shocks you. Like I listened to a story for someone that was like, found himself thinking, oh, I don't know why. Or like, I'm realizing I'm excited to see my secretary every morning. Why? Or that develops slowly over time. And sometimes it's not this like all of a sudden like thing, but you become aware of someone.
Yeah, which leads to, and we can jump back into these, but it might not even feel like attraction at all, but it's connection.
Yes. We use that word all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, we were talking about that, the amount of times when we were talking, kind of like preparing to be on this podcast with you guys of like connection. We always ask each other, like, do you feel connected to me? That's like our question.
Feels very safe. It's not threatening.
Yeah.
Like, I feel connected to you.
Instead
I'm
of like,
not
are you
feeling
mad at
as
me?
connected to you.
Right.
Is something off?
Yeah.
A bit more. Okay, and then our goal is just connection.
Our goal is connection. So when something difficult happens, you're right. Like that connection starts getting a little distorted.
Well, there's a bridge between you, and when the weight of life gets put on that bridge and that connection isn't strong,
it can
be rough.
Yeah. So we're always trying to attune to each other, even if I can't fix everything, right? It's not like I can like fix this difficult thing. It's not like I can fix this problem in pregnancy, like with my power, but even just attuning to what she's feeling in any type of difficulty. It's been a really easy pregnancy, actually. But like some of the conversations, I think, that we've never even thought about having, right? Even if I can just understand her concerns, that increases our connection,
right.
Yeah, and I just want to say as a disclaimer, like, this isn't always easy. And I think you guys are incredibly intentional about your conversations, about your time, about how you spend your, so there's going to be other people that hear this that go, I don't naturally talk to my spouse.
We've been in seasons where I'm sorry, but I would roll my eyes at this podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, oh gosh.
Because we feel disconnected.
Because it was like, you feel like there's this mountain or you feel like there's just been so much. And like, but yeah. And every marriage you will go through the highs and you will go through the lows. But I think too, even as we have gone through low seasons in our marriage too, like we did have some non-negotiables. It wasn't called an anti-affair plan, but it was like, these are non-negotiables. Like if we're in the middle of tension or an argument, like we will not do certain things or treat each other certain ways or things like that. So
yeah, and
just
we can
to
get
be
into
real,
that more.
We're not perfect by any means.
Yep, and we can get into that more too. But that's the natural tendency. You withhold your heart from where you're supposed to put it. You turn and you start to look for somebody that kind of will touch your heart. And then when you find that person, and people think this has nothing to do with an affair because at this point it's usually not attractional and not sexual.
But sometimes,
it's just connection.
I know we've talked about this before, where sometimes it's not that you're actually actively looking. It could be like, oh, it's the other dad that's at soccer practice, and you end up just talking to him like it can be so innocent that someone else catches your attention.
But you start to see it because the next step is that innocent meetings start to happen or recur, and flirting happens. And flirting is not always like, hey, you look cute today.
Yeah.
Flirting is like spending a little too long lingering in the conversation, always finding yourself back at that coworker's desk or, knowing when they're going to go to lunch and ending up sitting
Or an innocent meeting could be, yes, your kids are in the same activity. So you end up seeing each other or
and that's the person that
are
you
at that coffee
by.
shop at the same time as that person. And over time you that's
or
very
that person
innocent.
works at the coffee shop. You know, so you go to that same coffee shop. And that's so the next step is that those innocent meetings become a little bit intentional. You're like, oh, I know when I'm going to see them, and it's fulfilling to see them. And but I want to pause there because I want to come to this point of every person will get through step 3.
Yeah.
At some point in your relationship or your marriage. And it's what you do then at that point, because steps 1 through 3 can happen slowly, but steps 4 through 12 can happen quickly. And so it's really, maybe here where we could even start to talk about what do we do.
That's where I've been trying to, add things where steps 1 through 3, a lot of it is innocent in nature and not a seeking out. Like an innocent of out of my hurt, I've withdrawn, or, it's out of self-protection and not out of this mentality of things are intentional or planned or, which 4 through 12, that's when sometimes planning comes into place.
And I think it's having people in your life too that know you and recognize those conversations and go, that felt a little too friendly, you know, or it seems like that is, there's maybe more going on than what meets the eye.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I want to skip around in the notes a little bit because I want you guys to talk about this a little bit and even some of the stuff that you've worked out in your own anti-affair plan.
Yeah.
How does it meld together with these types of things that are happening in our heart? And while you think about that question, I just want to reiterate to everybody listening that it's not about I will not or I would never have an affair. It's about where your heart is leaning every day.
Yeah.
And who it's leaning towards. I mean, that's why getting up and reading your Bible is not about checking the checkbox. It's about leaning your heart towards Jesus. Being connected with your spouse is not a checklist of things to do to have a good marriage. It's about leaning your heart towards that person.
I think the one thing that's interesting as I read these first 3 steps we talked about too is phones and social media have made it so interesting because you could do step 1 through 3 virtually, just on your phone.
Yeah.
And
DMs.
be secluded and hidden. And so there's just so many layers to it.
Yeah.
I want you guys to chime in. How does your anti-affair plan help mitigate this?
Yeah. Do you want to start?
No, you go ahead.
We have 7 things, I believe, right? 7. Yep, 7. 7 things on our anti-affair plan. And I think one of the things that is maybe the most beneficial is just that we've determined that we can talk about anything. And there's so many couples and marriages of even people that we've run into or helped and counseled and walked with through difficult things that have things not on an actual list, but on an internal emotional list of we don't talk about this. We can't talk about this. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's an in-law. Maybe it's the friend that's the opposite sex that you've had for your entire life, even before you were married, and you are so close with them, but there's absolutely no way we're going to change that relationship, even though that we changed our relationship divinely under God. We can't edit this past relationship. There's so many different things that could be on someone's taboo list of things that we cannot talk about this, and we just don't have that list. Yeah. Anything is on for discussion. So, and I also feel like the thing that is missing though, when someone has a list, is safety, right? We talk a lot about safety. If you don't feel safe talking about money, of course you're not going to bring it up. If you don't feel safe talking about your spouse's mom because it's really touchy, or safe talking about, I
was going to say, and if you're listening to this and going, oh my goodness, now I need to go talk to my spouse and tell them everything, well, let's do that in moderation if you guys don't do that already.
Yeah.
Because again, safety, having cushioning for some of these hard topics with how you communicate, having shared language, tone of voice, them knowing your heart is for them or for connection, versus telling something really hard or really painful or even like a trauma in your childhood that you haven't told them. It's important to tell them, but you also want to do it in a way that is successful and brings more connection rather than, letting off a bomb.
So you can't go 0 to 100.
Is the first step for somebody who's in that situation that's maybe listening right now? I mean, what would you say? Is it to go back and build connection? Yeah. Because what breeds the safety that you're talking about?
We were talking about like shame resiliency too, right? Is that how you said it? Of just, you have to build that muscle.
Yeah.
Right? If you are a person that has experienced a lot of trauma or betrayal or just struggle, and you're really prone to have a lot of shame, to where immediately if Hailey comes up and says to me, hey, there's this guy, and I'm like, oh my God, and I just immediately spiral, right? First of all, we have language actually pre-planned out of like how we would approach that, of like, I'm not gonna go to Hailey and say, I saw this super hot girl on the side of the road. Like, Hailey, you should have seen her. Like, and just make her feel like that's going to obviously induce a lot of shame. Yeah. I have I language though. So we've planned it out of saying like, hey, I think there's like an unmet need inside of my heart. And I've been pulled in different ways that I know are just things that are unmet within me. And I just want you to know them and see them. And I want you to be aware of this. And I'm like, she would go on to probably say like, okay, like what can we do? How can I help? Right? Instead of pointing language, your language is really important. Instead of pointing language at your spouse, then you can have much more productive conversations that are a lot safer and with less shame. But if you are a person right now that doesn't feel safe, you don't have the right language, and you just kind of on default have a lot of shame, this is going to be difficult, but you should start at somewhere, wherever you're at. Getting language.
Maybe bringing in a third party to help you guys learn together. That could be a pastor, that could be a counselor, that could be someone else.
Coach,
Creating shared language. We listen to a lot of the same podcasts or books, just things to have a shared language. And even this podcast can become that shared language of, oh, they're talking about this. Maybe we should talk about this. Yeah. That gives permission.
One of the things on our plan to not have an affair is just that we would basically kind of predetermine relationships of people that we know would point us to each other. Because there are so many different friendships that you might have where you complain about your spouse, which is also another thing that we don't do, even in our friendships, of like, I'm never going to come to work and complain to especially a female coworker about something Hailey was doing. Like, that is off limits. It just doesn't lead to anything good. But yeah, we have friends and professionals, and like you guys would also be on that list. If something was going on between us, you guys are not going to be like, well, I definitely see your side of things. You should probably step away, right? We're surrounded by people that direct us towards each other instead of like some old friend from high school that has already walked through a divorce and would definitely point you away.
Give you a little more cynical advice.
Yeah.
Totally.
I know exactly what you're going through.
Right.
And I feel so good now that I'm divorced. Right.
Yeah.
That's just really important to have the right voices around you. So we've predetermined those. as well. And even especially
that's part of the safety too, is because you know the other person's not going to a bunch of other people saying stuff about you or knocking on you or making jokes about you.
Right.
That, I mean, when we're talking, we're going to keep coming back to this, I think, of just like, how do you create that safety and that trust really in your relationship?
And I think I want to try kind of keep bringing a perspective of someone who maybe feels like the pit is dug so deep right now. Because even you guys talking about, I would say you're an extremely willing husband, Kyle, for like change and innovation and like, let's do this, let's make a plan. And so I do think eventually in this, we should talk to you. And I'm not saying it's always the wife. Maybe it's a husband listening to this and saying, my wife would never. So what does a spouse do when the other one's completely unwilling? Maybe what are some things they can do to just like uphold their part of the covenant that they're in? And even just honoring their spouse, whether their spouse is willing to do the same or not.
Yes.
But also, I even think of you guys talking about how you had a lot of conversations like this when you were dating. And maybe not everyone was equipped with like
the
healthy
right
families or emotional intelligence to talk about that stuff. And so for some people, it may be, you don't even talk with your spouse like, how was your day? Or like being considerate of them. And that's a great start, of like, which is connection. And it doesn't have to be, I think you said this, Kyle, 0 to 100, because that can be a lot. And so I don't want us talking from maybe a place of health or a lot of years of hard work to make anyone feel like, oh my gosh, there's no way. Because I've been in too many of those conversations where people feel that, and the pit may be deep, but it's not too deep. And the Holy Spirit can do a lot.
I'm just even trying to think of conversations we've had of, when we had little kids, and it was like, hey, Josh, when you walk in the door, the kids want to run to you, but
you kind of want to run to the kids too. You're the fun dad.
Yeah, I am the fun dad. I enjoy being fun.
You are. That's good.
But I remember you saying like, I need you to look at me and ask me how my day was.
Yeah.
Because it was Groundhog's Day. It was the same diapers
she's doing
and the
same
songs.
thing.
But do you care? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there's little steps like that, or like,
which is
developing.
The bottom line of that is expressing a need.
Yeah.
So getting
some
comfortable.
people don't know how to express their needs. So can you create questions within your marriage or conversation pieces
that
get you to that spot,
that give you a way to bring up things that you're feeling or walking through.
And that can change. Like, I think too, like I remember reaching a point in our marriage where I said, because I'm not super physical touch, I'm not even like lovey-dovey. Like if you talk super like this to me, I'm like, oh, gross, stop it. I'm not 10, like knock it off.
We were just having a conversation today, and I was like, Jenaye, I think we agree. You're just trying to say, I want to speak the truth. And I'm saying, I want to speak the truth with a pastoral tone. Yes. And it's like, it's just different.
Yeah, but I would just say that's demonic. And he's like, yes, and I would say it's different. I'm like, okay. But that's how it's worked out in our marriage. And I came, and it surprised me. And I think the Lord helped me get there of like, Jenaye, you actually probably need more affection where you've not needed it. And I remember saying that to him, like, I haven't really needed this up to this point. Like, I'm good. I think I need it now. That's a shift for me. That's a change for you. Like, so even like being aware of what you need in different seasons, which I don't know if it changes more for women. I know in our marriage, I feel like it's changed way more for me because motherhood changed me in ways. And I've just changed a lot and adapted a lot in different things.
I think I've learned even recently, like your spouse isn't complaining, they're expressing a need. Or they're often
That's
not
exactly
trying.
Right.
Yeah, they're not trying to nag on you. It's like even coming into this year, I was like, this year, one of my goals is when Jenaye asked me to do something, I haven't even like verbalized this to her, but I was like, I just want my response to be yes, because what she's really verbalizing is a need. And I know if I can just close that tab or meet that need and not think, well, she can do it. Or, why do I got to get up? And I think sometimes it's even those attitudes in ourselves where we have to go, okay, how can I create safety? I can be needed. So I'm really just trying to appeal to the person who's saying, where do I start? What can I do first? How can I start to have safety in these conversations?
Okay. Yeah. We did steps 1 through 3 of the 12 steps to an affair, and which hopefully I'm hoping we kept the plan, and we already talked about it the Sunday before. So I'm just going to read the highlighted parts. We're not even going to dive into them because then I'm going to have to, and we've done this before, guys, on podcasts. I'm going to have to step out, go get the kids from school because that's what I do every day. And it's so early in the afternoon. But time's just gone too quickly. But then I really want you guys maybe to hone in on some practicals. What are some practical things for maybe, And it doesn't have to be called an anti-affair plan. It could just be boundaries for our relationship and our marriage.
I don't think Jenaye and I even really have a plan. We have principles.
And
we could probably define it further, but we're talking about principles that you
But
use.
to type of a plan is so smart and so good. But going back to 12 steps of an affair, we covered 1 through 3. Number 4, meetings become intentional. That's you're aware that you're going to run into that person and you don't go out of your way. Number 5, while in a group setting, though you and that person linger together in conversation, you're drawn to that person and you allow the time to stay.
So if you're in a crowd, you're drifting towards each other.
You would be drawn to them and you're aware of it. Number 6, conversation begins to shift to feelings. That's always a big thing to be aware of.
Good, yeah.
Especially with the opposite sex, which now in today's world, it doesn't even have to be the opposite sex. You have to be very aware of what you're feeling. I mean, we've walked through enough situations.
There's a line in our lives where if you're with the opposite sex and it starts to talk about their marriage or feelings or real heart issues, I will end that conversation or bring somebody else into the conversation because that is one of the red lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it deals with your heart. Number 7, intentional meetings occur under the, what word is that? Disguise
of legitimate
I was going to
purpose.
say it wrong. Of legitimate purpose. Because you really want to talk more about more feelings. So it met that need and you're wanting more of that. Number 8, an isolated meeting happens for pleasure. And this becomes where you can't account for your time without lying. That's a big symptom there. Number 9, embraces become affectionate. Playful touching begins. Number 10, embraces become passionate. 11, adultery happens. 12, affair becomes public. Okay, these 12 steps are very much, probably they're quite old too, in the concept of like a traditional, you meet another person in person. I understand now there is Snapchat. I have a philosophy. If you're married, I see no need for Snapchat. I don't need an app that things disappear. I don't need any app that things disappear. If I'm married, that makes no sense to me. But call me old fashioned. I don't know. So I think there's other things too here. Or wise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because some people would say,
I second it.
Yeah. Some people would say, listening, that's so legalistic. Like it's just Snapchat. But if it's something that will bring you closer to your spouse and like kill anxiety.
Yeah.
What is that worth? Like how much would you pay for?
Or wondering. Any wondering. Anything that deletes. I will wonder. Someone made a point. We use the app Marco Polo and they're like, well, Marco Polo's delete. And I'm like, I think after like months. I think it's like if you don't pay the $200 a year, they will. You can go back for weeks on my Marco Polos if you want.
I think you have to ask yourself the question whenever you get defensive about something or say, oh, that's legalism. You just have to pause and go, why am I defending this?
Yes.
And be honest with yourself, even if you don't want to be honest with anybody else. And the answer and the motivation in your heart in that moment. Because there's a lot of people who say, well, that's legalistic. But the reality is you don't want to give up your Instagram because you like sliding into the photos and looking at stuff you shouldn't look at. Or like, and you know in your heart, I'm not saying that's everybody, but you know in your heart, why am I defending this? And usually it comes back to personal comfort or pleasure.
I'm like, we probably need to do a part 2 of literally just how to protect yourself with phones in marriage. Because even, fun fact, I just got, which I didn't think it all through, and it might be a waste of money. Financially, Dave Ramsey may not have like this. I didn't think it through, but I was really passionate about it. But I got a Wise phone. This phone's trash. I mean, it's done anyways, almost dead. But have you heard of a Wise phone?
I have not, but I want
It's by a company called Techless. I mean, you cannot download an app. You can't, don't think I could even shop with this phone. It's a Samsung, so sorry, iPhone people. But I'm feeling the pain right now. So I'm in this point where I'm like, am I going to have all these numbers? How many numbers am I going to have? But the whole point is seeing how much social media and my phone, and a lot of it's out of like stress and zoning out. And so it's like, we've been talking so much about that. But that's what you disclaimed at the beginning is like, this could just be things that are getting between you and your family.
Anything.
In general. Not even just your marriage, but your whole family.
And it really is just the difference. Like, I know everybody's like, don't lay in bed on your phone and whatever. There's a difference between we haven't connected, we haven't really talked, we're exhausted, we both crawled in bed and just pulled our phone out versus, hey, I love you, you good? I'm going to put a show on.
Yeah, we've had those nights. Are you good if I like zone out for a bit? Are you good? Like you connect before you.
Totally.
Yeah, rather than like avoidance versus like, no, this is just what we're doing tonight.
You were using language. That's what, like when I come home from a Sunday too, sometimes I'm like, Hailey, I know you want my attention, you want my time. I need to lay down for 30 minutes.
To 3 hours.
Yeah, to 3 hours. I might pass
Kids
out.
literally know. You get screen time on Sundays when dad gets home. Like that's when you get to have screen time. Yeah.
But that's the language,
It
right?
is the language.
And that's the communication. High
Expectation.
communication is going to help.
Okay, Jenaye, why don't you go get our kids, and Kyle and Haley and I are going to talk
You're gonna have so much fun, and I'm gonna
some
listen to the rest
of
of it when it comes out. And I'm
That's
gonna
fine.
I'm so jelly. But I wanted to just read the rest of those 12, and I know hopefully we'll have talked about it the previous Sunday, but I think you said once steps 6 through 12 can happen in a matter of a day. You know, I mean, it's like it could be a matter of maybe hours when things can get rolling. But I wanted to give that disclaimer too, that with things like Snapchat, there's things that can be disclosed and revealed. And, you know, I mean, now it's just, there's so many vantage points to, distance yourself or
I
direct
think it
your
even
attention
says
away.
if you've started touching, like your heart is so invested that you're like, to unwind that.
Yeah.
It takes confession
Yeah.
or a quick, like you got to turn totally around. Otherwise you're progressing.
Well,
You've invested your heart in a way that
we've-
is hard to pull out of.
Even heard and seen and helped walk through situations where someone will say, hey, this affair, there's my reminder. I said it would happen. You know, this affair lasted 5 years, but it wasn't physical till the last year and a half, you know, or something like that. Like there is scenarios like that. Okay. Love you all. Goodbye. Have
love
fun.
you.
See ya.
Okay. How much do you guys want to walk through a little bit more? Like give people some tangibles on if they're going to go,
Create
they're
their own
both in
plan.
it. They're saying we want to build an anti-affair plan. Where do they start? What are some principles that you would introduce to them?
Yeah.
Give us some thoughts.
Yeah, before I say that, from something that Jenaye said too, of just even willingness, because I think like there was a willingness in both of us to create this plan. I think Hailey was maybe more pressing the gas pedal, not because she was anxious about it, but I mean the Bible says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Fools despise wisdom and discipline, right? And this is just simple wisdom. It's not super complicated. But yeah, I think we have really great boundaries with our closest friends. That's like one of the first things on our list. Closest friends, but even a neighbor or someone walking through that we know. If Haley's home alone, Hailey does not invite that male inside, you know, and even car rides,
Right.
right? We're not sharing, splitting a cab, trying to save money with the opposite sex of, you know, someone. And it's maybe even not even just for us, but it's also for other people too. I was talking about with Hailey yesterday of how our plan reduces anxiety in us, but it also reduces anxiety in our friends. And I'm really glad even to serve under you within this church when I can see you and Josh and Jenaye having these types of boundaries too. It reduces anxiety in me, right, of my workplace. And how many people wish that their bosses in their secular workplaces just had such high integrity and that stereotype of the boss and the secretary just would die, right? People want to follow people of high integrity because they feel safer.
Yeah.
So I think that's one. Do you want to hit the next one or whatever else you're thinking?
Yeah. Well, I'll just read it off.
Yeah.
We turn to each other first. So we commit to bringing our emotional, physical, and relational needs to one another, especially if we notice ourselves being drawn to a quality in someone else or if they're meeting a need in us, even if they don't know they are. So this is sort of already what Pastor Josh has said, some self-awareness, knowing what's going on in my heart, and then not putting all the pressure on Kyle or your spouse to meet every need, but to be aware of like, oh, it's good to have a healthy hobby. It's, am I in the Word? Do I have a person that he feels comfortable with that I can go to? If I need to process something, on a Sunday, I know that he doesn't have as much energy. So, but I also know that I have this, longing to connect. And so, yeah, maybe I'm going to go out to my parents for an hour and run my dog. Like, I'm going to get these needs met and I have a plan. I have some agency. But I'm also going to tell Kyle what's happening too, just to remove anxiety, create safety.
And we've had conversations like that of the willingness from both the husband and the wife to go to someone for wise counsel is maybe sometimes hard because either the husband or the wife doesn't trust one of the members of the third party. Or if you're going to a marriage counselor, right, it's maybe sometimes common where the wife is like, that was so awesome. I love this counselor. And the husband's like, I didn't feel safe, right? So then they just stop going, or vice versa.
Which they legitimately might not have felt safe. I also know a lot of guys who don't like that they were confronted. Or that somebody got in their business.
Right.
You know, and I think if you're a guy listening to this and that's your posture, that's a you issue, right? And one thing I want to vouch for is, like, I knew Hailey pre-Kyle. And we've loved you. We've had you on staff, you know, but I've seen her grow so exponentially in the safety of a healthy marriage with a guy who's willing. Like Jenaye said. And, you know, I know there's wives that are listening to this that are desiring that. There's maybe husbands who are hesitant, but you guys, I love that about you is I think you can teach it, but it's really demonstrated in the safety and the security that you both show. Yeah. Which is really cool. Great example.
Yeah. And it's even something, maybe you're listening to this and you're single, right? It's something to look for. You were talking about that with me yesterday of, are they willing to grow? They can be imperfect. They can, you know, have walked through really difficult past relationships, but where is their willingness? Because then you can end up in a point with a plan, with boundaries, with an anxiety-free relationship, right? So
I was talking to somebody about that yesterday who was talking about dating and like finding the right person, and almost like we can get to a point where we have a checklist, you know, where we have all these things that we expect. And especially when you're younger, it's like, don't make somebody check all the boxes. Jenaye said to me when we were dating, she said, are you trying to date a person or are you trying to date the perfect situation? I was like, I guess I'm trying to date the person, you know, like, and that actually made it easier.
Yes.
And I think what you're looking for is somebody who's willing to be intentional, somebody who's keeping their own heart, you know, like they're passionate about Jesus, they're pursuing him, they're keeping a healthy heart, they're working out their grievances. Like, look for that sort of stuff more than do they check? Do they check every box? You know?
My dad made me make a spouse list when I was like 13, maybe.
Like potential spouses or qualities of the spouse?
Not a list of all of the other 13-year-old girls in the church or anything like that, no. But just a list of qualities, right?
Yeah.
And when we got married, Hailey actually had a spouse list as well. And it really helped us kind of see each other, first of all, because it came up in our first date, actually. Like, I have this spouse list, and Hailey's like, I have a spouse list, and it's just as intense as yours. But mine is, I learned through the hard way.
Yeah.
That I couldn't do what you're saying of like looking for the perfect checked off the box thing. And I actually have on my spouse list, I wrote it to where it was like 2 categories. And one was just really simple things that I could see maybe from the outside or just from conversation. And then there's a second segment that you need to reevaluate after 3 months. But it says like in fine print, love can trump like 15 of these things. So if they don't meet all of these things, I can cross off 15 of these because it was a pretty specific list.
Yeah.
And as Josh is saying, like intentionality of their heart is maybe more important. Like, are they willing to grow and be shaped and be redeemed? And
it becomes less preferential and more like, is this a person of wisdom?
And
I think that's what you start to see.
For you, probably just the fact that I had a spouse list gave you a lot of peace of just, oh, wow, they're being intentional.
Intentionality.
Yeah. So,
okay, we don't have time to go through this whole thing.
Yeah.
Pastor Kyle and I actually have a meeting we're supposed to be in together.
I totally forgot about that.
That we've been waiting like months to have. It's a really important meeting, ironically.
Yeah.
But if there's anything that you just want to give a quick flyover, anything you feel like, man, this can't be missed, why don't you guys bring us out with just some final thoughts?
Do you want to go?
You go first if something's on your mind.
I think it is something that needs to be said that within all of these conversations that you'll have maybe with your spouse after listening, you need to identify shame, because shame is going to reduce safety. It's going to limit your conversation. One of the things that I've worked with privately in with my counselor, because we both see people individually and we've worked with people together, but
again, proactive care.
Care. Yeah. When I say that, maybe it makes some people go, "Oh my gosh, he's in counseling," or they have
all
marriage
the pastors
problems.
at that church are in counseling.
Yeah. Better to be there when you want to be there than be there when it's like the last.
You have to.
The last thing on the list of like, this is the only thing that could save our marriage. But shame, I talk about with my counselor, and he's just really helped me identify when I'm feeling shame. And one of the ways that I talk about it with her is I say, I feel shame in this room. Can we like put it somewhere? Can I go put it in another spot of the room and then come back to you with no shame? And it just helps her even visualize and feel.
Do you get up out of your chair, walk over to a different corner of the room?
Sometimes.
Pretend
or I'll
to set
take it
something
and throw it somewhere.
Yeah, but the point is you're acknowledging.
I'm acknowledging.
Hey, there's something else in the room that's getting in the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's between us. This shame piece in our language, our conversation, is going to reduce the effectiveness of this conversation that we're having about our marriage, about something that's getting in between us, about a person maybe that we're talking about that is sensitive, that's found their way in between us in some way. So let's put that shame over there and let's just talk about us, right? So I think if you go gung-ho into a conversation without acknowledging shame or safety that's not there, you might not have as good of a result. But if you just move into the conversation thinking, me and my spouse are not talking, how can we create more safety? How can we create less shame first, and then try to have these conversations about it? Yeah.
And some practical pieces to that would be to say, hey, babe, my goal is to connect with you and I want to bring up something. So, I'm trying to make it safe. Or to say, sometimes we say this, like, I don't want you to hear this as me saying you're bad. I don't think you're bad. Or I just want you to know you're enough for me. And I want to share something that's bothering me. And so those are just practical statements to try to lower shame, lower the person's defensiveness or them being hard on themselves. And just, again, this intention is just for more intimacy, for more connection, not to attack you, belittle you, win, anything like that.
Yeah. The goal of all conflict is connection.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Jenaye has talked about how she's a verbal processor and she can come in hot sometimes. And so the safety for me has been, hey, when we talk about things, I need you to frame it. And so, we actually picked this up from some of our close friends, was when we go on date night, I'm just going to ask, what can I start doing? What can I stop doing? And what should I keep doing? And that's my way of saying, I'm inviting you to tell me what I should stop doing. But for me, it's my defenses are up less. So part
especially
of it
when
is
it's
like,
on your terms.
Yeah. And that's my boundary of like, okay, I'm going to frame it this way. And if you'll help me and frame it this way, I'm going to receive it better. Because I think we all have this tendency to protect and defend. And if you add shame or guilt or any of that onto that, these conversations can sometimes not go anywhere. So that's where we're talking about language. And like, if you're not connecting in this way or finding safety, have a conversation about how can we talk to each other better, and how can we create safety. Hailey, what's your closing thought?
Yeah. This has kind of come up throughout the podcast, but if there is a spouse listening right now who's saying, I want to do these things, this sounds so great. In fact, it makes me long for these things, but my partner's not willing, or I can't bring in a third party. We can't go to counseling. Just to hear that you're not stuck and you're not alone, and you can actually do so many of these things yourself and start to create safety and momentum. You can meet so many of these needs that you might have, and that shouldn't be a barrier to you getting help or you changing. And it's just such a beautiful invitation, even if you are the person who does the work first. And it can kind of feel like, well, why should I have to do it? But why not you? Why not now?
Yeah.
God gave you free will and to walk in that. And it will be hard. But there are people out there who are there to help, understand you, help you grow, offer a hand of support. So just do it. You're not stuck.
Yeah. Die first, right?
Seriously.
That's what marriage is. It's a beautiful death, like I said, but die first.
Yeah. Last encouragement, I think it's 1 Corinthians 7, but I'm terrible at calling out the Bible reference, but I think it's in there, and it talks about even those that are in a marriage where one of you is serving the Lord and the other isn't. And it talks about how you have the power for your spouse to be sanctified through you and changed through you. And I've really wrestled with what that means. And I think so many times we view marriage as two different people trying to bring it together, or on two separate journeys trying to get their lives to work together. But if we go back to the mystery of marriage and the mystery of the gospel, it's that we're in a covenant and that the two become one flesh.
Yeah.
And so you doing what Hailey said, or what Kyle said, of dying first and of starting the change in you, and you being sanctified and you being like Jesus, if you are one flesh. And this is where we don't get to dictate the time or the how or when. It can have a sanctifying effect on your spouse.
Yes.
So don't go manipulate them and be like, I'm doing this so that you'll become that.
Yeah.
But live it, become it, start to develop these things. And the Bible says it can have that impact on your spouse. So
it's so
just
beautiful.
encouragement, because there's a lot of people in that situation.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about the wife who's like, oh man, if I shared with my husband that another man caught my attention, he wouldn't have the reaction of Kyle of oh, he'd be mad. He'd say, you're not going there anymore. He would be very defensive, very controlling. And you do the right thing as much as it depends on you. And we're going to believe with you that God is going to have an impact on your spouse too.
So
through the sanctifying work he's doing in you. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks for joining us. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I love sitting with you. I think there's so much wisdom, and I still want to view you as these little young adults, how we met you.
Flirting with each other upstairs.
Yeah. But you're not. You're growing, and you're full of wisdom and truth and grace, and it's awesome. So thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.